Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. And today I'm gonna be coughing a lot. I just played basketball with a bunch of little kids. Of course I won because I'm a legend, and that counts to my win factor. So I'm gonna have to talk a little slow because I don't have water, bro. I don't know what's going on. I've been playing for like hours. My allergies are killing me. But what happened on so I can't even speak. So something happened last Sunday that kind of reminded me of all these subway stories I have in the city. By the city, I mean New York City, where, you know, all the crazy subway stuff happens. So I'm going to be telling all my subway stories. So basically, there's a lot, but I'll just say the ones that are the most interesting, or at least the ones that I can remember that were pretty recent. Oh my God, sorry. I might have to make a part two. But basically, last Sunday, I was on a date with this girl. I remember we went down to the subway station. I remember where we went. There was like no one else there, and it was actually really creepy. And like, I remember it was just like dark, like all the lights were out. There's like a power outage or something because they had construction going on. And there was like one flickering light. And me and this girl are walking, and we just hear screams down the hallway. And we hear screams like, ow, ow. And one guy's just screaming his head off. And that's where we're walking to. And it's just normal subway stuff. So we keep walking down. And I'm trying to like, there's a bunch of crazy stuff you hear. So we're walking and we see two cops and a guy. And there's this guy like freaking out. He's like clearly on like some sort of drugs or something. He's not moving his arms. And he's like, he is, but he's doing like, he's like moving like really weird. You could tell he's on something. He's like flopping around, like barely standing up. I'm surprised he didn't fall. Like he was like, he had mad balance or something. I remember it was dark and there was like the flickering light, and that's kind of how we saw it. And these two cops are like trying to escort this guy like out, and this guy's just freaking out, and they're like shoving this guy because this guy is like keeps like trying to ram into them or something, like they're a wall, and he's like trying to break it down. But eventually, while they're shoving him, he seems to like back off a little, and they're like yelling their heads off. He seems to back off a little, but then like a freaking Titan from Attack on Titan, he does like the little zesty run. Like that one zesty zombie run, and he screams his zesty Titan run, he screams his head off. And I kid you not, while doing the run, he like puts his arms back and like flails his arms, lunges forward, screams, and I can see him open his mouth, and this guy lunges right to the cop's neck, like a huge jump, and takes and just bites this cop's neck, bro. And there's just a loud scream. At this point, you know, I'm on the date and I'm trying to get her out of there. And like, holy crap, bro. Oh my gosh, mad embarrassing. But yeah, that was crazy. So I got out of there. So that was one story. And it was like right under the flickering light too. So that was crazy. I don't know the outcome of what happened. I tried looking it up like the next day, but there's a bunch of biting cops stories, so it didn't come up. Oh, also on that same day, while I was going to see her, there was a guy playing like a saxophone, like really loud, and he had a bunch of like dancing fake animals around him. So that was pretty funny. I have a video actually. I'm going to put it right here. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. So the next story I have is I remember this was one of the time, if you watched my last video, The Girl That Changed My Life, this is where I was on the subway, just literally heading nowhere. Like it was 3 a.m. I remember I saw a guy, like there was like no one on the subway because we were in like a really remote area. Wherever I was, I don't really remember because everything was like blanking. But I remember this guy walked in and he was just looking at the floor the whole time. Like he walked in, he had a trench coat on, like the sickest black hat ever, and like jewelry all over him. Like he had like 3 watches, chains, and like rings. This guy was tricked out. He had like these sickest shades on ever. They're like these small black shades. And bro just looked sick. Like he looked straight out of the Matrix. Like it was, I don't know if he was like, I don't know what he was doing. It was like 3, almost 4 a.m. Bro was just dripped out. No phone. Just went in the subway raw. Just sat there staring down. I took a picture here. I'll put it in there because he wasn't looking. He was looking down. So yeah, it was pretty cool. And the next story I have, I remember I was gonna go see this girl. This was like November. I remember it was during a Rangers game. and I was right at that like station where you go to get off at the spot where you go to like the stadium. I remember it was packed. Oh my gosh. I remember it was packed. Just so many people. I didn't want to miss it because I was already kind of late. Like I was gonna be late, but I didn't want to be more late. So I remember to get on the subway. I don't know what was going on, but it was like a little far. Like it wasn't right up to the thing. I remember it was so packed, and everyone was like trying to get other people on because they're all trying to go see the game. I remember there was like no space at all. Oh my gosh, there was no space at all. I remember I jumped on, and these 3 people like caught me to put me back on because there was no room, but I just jumped on anyway because, you know, I'm gonna go see a baddie, so whatever it takes. I remember the train like took so long to close because what happens is if you're too close to the train, the whatchamacallit, like the doors to like beep, and it was so crowded, like everyone was standing. I have a photo here, but it was so crowded. I was leaning against the door, which felt mad unsafe, but I remember next to me was this like guy. He was chill, and I accidentally elbowed him right in the face as the train started moving, the subway. So I felt bad for that guy, but I remember there was a guy with a mustache in front of me and like some bald guy to the left of me. And we were like talking the whole time. It was fun. And then I remember just the guy with the mustache just turns to me and he's like, "You want a beer?" He just hands me a beer. And, you know, it's just so funny. Like, it was just such like, it was like 20 minutes of just chilling with these guys that I'll never see again. But, you know, when you just meet people like that and you just like feel close with them, but, you know, you'll never see them again. It was like that. And, you know, that was fun. And basically, there was also nothing to hold on to because that's how packed it was. Like, literally nothing to hold on to. So whenever it shook, everyone was bumping into each other like sardines. Like, it was crazy. Like, you remember that old game Operation with the tweezers? Yeah, it was nothing like that, but it was crazy. It was like sardines. I got a sardine villain, Claudia, Chance of Meatballs. Like, everyone was just bumping into each other. And it was fun. Everyone was like yelling. That was a good one. And I remember the next story is I used to talk to this girl. I remember one time we sat on the subway, and this guy just wouldn't stop looking at us. I remember she like touched my shoulder, and like we looked over, and there was just this guy, and he was like you could just tell he was like a performative guy. He had like the tote bag, the matcha, and fake glasses, which I don't have. Which, you know, these are totally real. But yeah, Mac performative. He had like the wired earphones. Yo, what is going on? Stop. This will help. I remember he wouldn't stop looking at us. I remember I just eventually just stared at him back. Like I just stared at him like a freaking alpha male. And then he just baited out. And I remember he kept trying to, and then he started looking at me. Like at first he was just staring at her, but then he just started looking at me. So that was really creepy, but eventually we got off and it was fine. And then when that girl like kind of turned into my ex, like it was really toxic. I should make a story time on that. It was honestly all my fault. But no, actually no, it was her fault too. But we were really toxic together. And I remember one time I was seeing her like after, it wasn't really like a breakup, but because we never really dated, but at the same time we were like really close. So yeah, but oh my god, but yeah. I remember we were like arguing, and then this like lady comes on the bus with a dog, and I've never seen someone so mad in my life because that dog loved me. Like that dog was jumping all over me, licking me, and the lady was like, "Stop, I'm so sorry." And I was like, "No, it's okay." And then eventually the dog like went on my lap and fell asleep, and the lady was like, "Oh, you must be an angel." I was like laughing, and then someone across was like, "Oh, you're such a sweetheart," and all these like old ladies were like glazing me, and I'm just gonna say my ex, she was so fucking pissed because she was trying to say like how bad of a person I was, which clearly I'm not because this dog loves me. But she, you know, we were arguing. She's like, "You're such a bad person. Like you did this to me. You hurt me in this way." Even though she was low-key toxic and narcissistic, because after that, she literally told me she went on a date like the day after, and like cried on her date because she still missed me. So why would you go on a date with someone if you still miss your ex? Like, come on, that's just mean to that guy. So she deserved it. But yeah, all these old ladies were like glazing me because I was just next to the dog, and the dog just probably likes everyone, but I was just like petting it. So I look, he didn't deserve it, but you know, they were just like complimenting me for, you know, being nice to a dog. But it was like the whole ride, and she, you know, we couldn't really argue with me, and she was still had so much stuff to say, I could tell. But all the stuff, you know, when you're mad and you have so much to say to someone, but you can't say it. It was like one of those moments, but like she could say it, but and then it was like while she was like beginning to get all hyped up, like it was just cut off because this dog started jumping on me, and everyone started glazing me in the subway. And yeah, I'll always remember that because she was so mad, and I won the argument because I'm such a sweetheart angel. Anyway, I'm done. I'm done. Sorry.